Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Spellbinder doing the weekly newsletter once again on the unfiltered news from the reality zone, where political correctness is not spoken here. Compiled by G. Edward Griffin and his News Scouts for September 22nd through the 28th of 2012. And here we go with the news comic strip for this week. It's a new idea where you plunder them just a little bit on a regular basis. It's called taxation. Wow, even then, they started it. Taxation without representation. Now to the headlines for this week. Bank of America agrees to pay $2.43 billion to investors who accuse the bank of hiding the losses of Merrill Lynch when the bank acquired it in 2008. Investors said they would not have approved the merger if they had been told the truth about huge losses they were acquiring from Merrill Lynch. The bad investment subsequently was made good by taxpayers in the form of 2 bailouts by Congress and the Federal Reserve. It's the taxpayers that should have filed a lawsuit, not the investors. But if they had, the bank could not pay damages without another bailout from the taxpayers. See how the game is rigged? It's circular that way. It's called Catch 22. New York Times, September 28th. After Catch 21. Video. Florida. A vote registration firm hired by the Republican Party is fired after it was found processing fraudulent registrations, including out-of-state residents and dead people. It may be a mere coincidence that Florida is home to the Hanging Chad election scandal in 2000, or it may not be. MSNBC, September 28th. Who knows? There's all types of voter fraud going on. All types of actually election fraud. It's not really voters doing anything. It's the election councils doing all this. And their electronic voting machines. New animal studies of dioxin, a common environmental toxin, shows that exposure can create permanent damage that can be passed from to future generations. Fast co-exit. September 27th. Video. Pro-Israeli lobbyists call for a false flag event to justify a war with Iran. Note that every example he uses as an acceptable basis for getting into various wars in the past are now known to be false flags. Attacks in which the U.S. government itself engineered an attack against the American people to condition them to embrace war. Incredibly frank. PPJ, September 26th. Yeah, this guy just gets up there and says, yeah, we got to do this. We got to do this for Israel. We gotta get a war going for Netanyahu so he can stay in there and continue being the psychopath he is. And he is a psychopath. Ask the regular rabbis, like the ones in New York who embraced Ahmadinejad, the president of Iran. They told him, we can't wait for this to all be over with so we can go back to being friends and trade amongst ourselves. That was from the New York rabbis. Man, we are being hoodwinked so badly by the Zionists in Israel. Even the Jewish people in Israel are hating their president like we hate ours, because they're not doing the right things. They're warmongering. They're spending money that doesn't exist. They're supporting the banksters and Wall Street and the industrial military complex who can't stay in existence without building bombs and bullets. We gotta end these people. They're making profit off of suffering and destruction. Next, U.S. The EPA is being sued for illegal experiments on humans involving diesel fumes piped into a gas chamber with subjects inhaling the fumes along with particulate matter to see what effects it will have on their lungs. Subjects were not informed of the toxic effects of the fumes or the fact that the particulates known as PM2.5 are also highly toxic. InfoWars, September 26. Oh yeah, I have a friend in high school who did a science project on diesel emissions from his dad's Mercedes-Benz was a diesel car, and he put mice, regular white mice, in the bag and stuck them on the exhaust of his dad's car and filled the bag up and let them stay in that bag for a while. And over a week's period or two, the mice started developing big tumors all over them. Oh yes, they looked like the rats that were in the Monsanto experiment done in France. Yes, he already knew. Now these people are experimenting with something like that now? Oh well, I guess they're behind the times. And this was back in the 1970s when my friend did the science project on the dangers of diesel emissions after being burnt. Video, Greece riots spread over the threat of a third round of austerity. The government's deficit is twice as large as previously disclosed. There is no source of funding except taxes and inflation. When the people demand government benefits and then discover that they themselves must pay for them, they will rebel against the system they thought would sustain them. Greece is a future glimpse of America. RT, September 26. Oh, you should have seen the lady up in Cleveland saying, Obama gave me a phone. He gave me a phone. I'm going to vote for him because he gave me a free cell phone. Oh, how bad. And Social Security and disability. He gave me everything. It's called, it's called bribing you. Next. Fukushima, workers who were given intravenous vitamin C before entering hazardous areas were protected from radiation, while workers given vitamin C afterwards showed signs of radiation damage. This suggests that people in the U.S. can protect themselves with liposomal encapsulated vitamin C, which has a high rate of absorption. Natural Society, September 26. See, we're already finding ways around it, but we shouldn't. They gotta stop the fallout. It goes around every 40 days around the northern hemisphere, dropping hot particles on us. What was given off back in 3/11/11, we're in a whole heap of bovine excrement. Up to our eyes, it seems. U.S. undercover activists visit Whole Foods market and film employees' responses about whether GMOs are sold in the store. Yes, they're not as wholesome as they say they are. 20 to 30% of all items sold there contain GMOs, but the employees have been told by their supervisors that nothing in the store contains GMOs. Perhaps this is why Whole Foods has not contributed to California's initiative to label GMOs, because they would have to label those 20 to 30% of their items that have GMO in it. And we all know what GMOs do. Look at the French study. Natural News, September 26. In Baldwin County, Alabama, with enthusiastic support of hundreds of citizens in attendance, the county commissioners voted to scrap the previously approved plan to land development. They said it was a UN-inspired document designed to deny property rights. Alabama is the first state to outlaw funding of UN Agenda 21 policies. AL.com, September 25th. And it should be countrywide. Get the UN out of the U.S. What more can be said? Foreign interest taking our country over. In Madrid, Spain, police clashed with thousands of protesters barricading the entrance to the congressional building to protect the lawmakers as they prepare for new austerity measures. The people oppose more bank bailouts and demand an intermediate dissolution of parliament and a new election. Protesters risk a year-long jail sentence for protesting and disrupting the Congress. Daily Sheeple, September 25th. And this is happening here. You're not allowed to protest. They will arrest you on the spot and take you away. They will collect you up. This is not right. We need more people protesting now. Triple it. See how they handle that in their little jails. They will have to let everyone go. They can't hold us all unless they start sending us to the FEMA camps, and that will rile up millions to protest. And that is what needs to happen to stop it. Video. Cardiologists warned that wheat was genetically manipulated in the 1960s and now contains a protein that is an opiate, stimulates appetite, and is toxic. He says modern wheat is the perfect chronic poison that contributes to many diseases, including obesity, diabetes, and heart disease. Yeah, they've already started it back in the 60s, don't you know? CBS News reports September 25th. Man, we are in so much trouble. We don't stand up and stop them. Say no. We all have to stand up and say no to the New World Order. I mean, that's our government and every other government in the world. China, man crushed to death under steamroller on orders from the government official. The excuse was that he refused to leave his land after it was confiscated by the government. You know, his measly little land that was just enough to supply him and his family food. Under collectivism, all land ultimately belongs to the state. And humans have no value unless they serve the state, you know, the new god of the world. InfoWars, September 25th. Russia rejects imports from the U.S. genetically modified corn manufactured by Monsanto after French studies showed horrific tumor, cancer, and organ damage in test animals. And I have a video up about that. And I have the picture. And it's horrible. And this is after 180 days. Not just 90 days. They only did the test for 90 days and said, hey, it's safe. And put it out there. This action could trigger a trade war. Europe is ordering an independent investigation into the GMO products. Daily Mail, September 25th. The Dow fell by over 100 points in a huge sell-off after Charles Plosser, the president of the Philadelphia Federal Reserve, said that the Fed's new QE3, so-called stimulus, would not boost economic growth. This will come as no surprise to our readers, but the financial industry is still ignorant, or pretends to be, about the worthlessness of money supply that is not limited by the supply of gold and silver or anything else beyond the control of banksters or bankers and politicians. Yahoo, September 25th. Don't you know? Video. Judge Napolitana says that overseas drone strikes are profoundly unlawful and unconstitutional, and that classified documents on the program should be released so voters can decide if they want to elect a president who kills people. Box Insider, September 25th. Yeah, like Obama. And I hear Romney supports the war, so sure. UK, hospitals are on the verge of collapse as its socialized medicine system staggers under increased demand and top-heavy bureaucracy. This is a preview of Obamacare in the future once it's fully implemented, don't you know? Natural News, September 24th. U.S. Speak Up. Law enforcement to use Russian software called Voice Grid Nation to store and identify millions of voices. RT, or Russian television, September 23rd. Yeah, they'll just call you up on the phone, and when you say hello, who's there? Hello, they have a copy of how you talk on the phone even, and they'll be able to identify you. Don't you know, or should? It's terrible. I'm telling you, this is not America, as David Bowie's song implies. Video. Graffiti artist paints amazing mural to wake people up about the banksters who rule the world. He calls it "The New World Order is the enemy of mankind." The public shows great interest in the theme. YouTube, September 23rd. Amazing he wasn't arrested like that lady was down in Texas for just putting down there YouTube, WTC 9/11. And she got arrested. And they're talking about putting her away. I think 33 years for it, for terrorism, for using chalk on a sidewalk. Do you believe it? It's happening. It's there. Check InfoWars. They got the article. They have the interviews. It's on YouTube. And just YouTube, woman uses chalk to write about 9/11 or something, and you'll get the video come up, and you'll have her on there telling, yeah, they're going to throw the book at me for using chalk, even though, children are riding on the sidewalks and drawing pictures of pink ponies and stuff. Oh, that's okay, as long as you don't put anything on there that educates anyone. Man, how evil this has become in this country. It's you're guilty until proven innocent. That's Napoleonic law that Mexico uses. And now it's fully implemented here, apparently, under the NDAA and the Patriot Act and other cruel and unconstitutional laws. Iran says the UN nuclear watchdog, the International Atomic Energy Agency, has leaked sensitive information about Iran's peaceful nuclear program to its enemy, Israel. The IAEA has never found any evidence that Iran's nuclear program is intended for military use. Press TV, September 23rd. Remember, Israel will not sign the proliferations agreement that allows the IAEA to come in and inspect their nuclear facilities, and especially the underground where they're building nuclear weapons and have already weaponized their subs that they got from Germany. Google it. You'll find out. U.S., the FDA is gradually removing vitamin B6, an important vitamin supplement, from the market. Millions of people require B6 supplementation to maintain health. Soon, the only way they will be able to get this is from a pharmaceutical company and with a doctor's prescription. Money junkies at it again in the pharmaceutical world. This is a big boost to Big Pharma's profits and higher costs to the consumer. Once again, the FDA serves the drug industry and doesn't protect the people from it. Natural Society, September 22nd. That's right. They're going to turn a $6 bottle of pills into $60. Just wait and see. Go hide and see, as I say to the ones that disbelieve. Video. Libyan police and pro-regime demonstrators storm militia base of armed gangs who reportedly toppled the Gaddafi regime. This is an encouraging turn of events in which the so-called rebels that are the heroes of the Western media are seen by the people in these or those countries as foreigners and terrorists, not saviors. Yeah, I keep telling you what they are. YouTube, September 22nd. They're mercenaries. These are mercenaries. Sent in foreign mercenaries. Being paid. Don't you know they run away when they're overpowered? If they're real freedom fighters for their country that they're supposedly protecting from the government that they're attacking, they would do it to the death to be heroes. But no, a dead mercenary can't spend his paycheck. Man. The Pentagon awards part of a $20 million contract to a private military organization called Academia, formerly known as Blackwater, to teach survival skills to U.S. spies. Despite Blackwater's history of corruption and being mercenaries, come to think of it, perhaps it's because of its corruption that it was awarded the contract. Russian television, September 22nd. Honduras, an experimental new city, has the goal of economic freedom using a model of minimal government and no taxes on income, capital gains, or sales. Fox News, September 22nd. I wish we would have that here where we had no taxes on our money that we make, and they'd only tax the corporations that you work for and the companies. They're the ones that should be taxed, not the employees. We are not a company. We're not a corporation as they claim. An individual is not a corporation. That's something they threw in there and brainwashed people into believing it's not true. Sorry. U.S. Senate rejects Rand Paul's bill to put limits and conditions on foreign aid. Instead, it voted to continue foreign aid to Libya, Egypt, and Pakistan despite attacks on U.S. embassies in those countries. Who's the enemy of who? It seems our government is the enemy of the people if they're doing such things. iRoots, September 22nd. The UN passed the Small Arms Treaty that would put American gun ownership under UN control, a foreign entity. It is one of the most important events of the century, but the mainstream media failed to report on it. Of course, they're paid not to report on it until they're forced to by the alternative media. The Senate has not yet ratified the treaty, but it could be implemented without such ratification simply by an executive order pencil whipped by President Obama. Like the UN's Agenda 21 was implemented despite being rejected by the Senate. Currently, Congress is considering several pieces of legislation that limit the Second Amendment. They do not want you to have guns to protect yourself. Only they and the criminals will have guns. Don't you know? Daily Sheeple, September 22nd. It's getting serious, people. They're out to destroy America. Our own government's been taken over. Has been hijacked, shanghaied. You pick the word. It's been done. In Nevada, local power companies sent armed men to disconnect an analog electric meter that a woman had installed by an electrician after the company refused to remove the smart meter they previously placed on her house. She is hypersensitive to electromagnetic pulse energy from the smart meter and became ill after it was installed. She has been without power for over a month. The Watchers, September 22nd. These people will not keep from harming us. It's part of their eugenics program to get rid of 80% of us because we're useless eaters to their eyes. If we're not rich like them, then we're worthless to them. And they'll only keep the people that they want to be slaves. 500 million people is all they really want on this planet. And they want the other 7 billion or 600 billion, 500 million off of this planet. See, they Georgia Guidestones for more. Facebook drops its facial recognition feature in Europe to avoid being in violation of European privacy rules. Need that here in America now. Insider Monkey, September 22nd. Dangerous levels of arsenic have been found in rice grown in the U.S. because 1.6 million tons of arsenic have been put into the food chain, primarily in pesticides, and have accumulated in the soil. Chicken manure fertilizer is another source of arsenic and is used in chicken feed. So they put in the chicken feed, the chickens have it, you eat the chickens poop it out, we're being poisoned. Mother Jones, September 22nd. Don't you know? God, wake up or die horribly with tumors and cancers and liver failure and cancer of the kidneys and pancreas and any other part of your vital organs, heart disease, brain tumors. Ooh, wake up or die horribly. They're trying to kill us and they don't care how it happens as long as we go away. And we're not outnumbering these elitist psychopaths that's running everything and sociopaths underneath them. Video, Ben Swan of Reality Check summarizes the legal twists and turns of infinite detention of the Americans as authorized under the NDAA, or the National Defense Authorization Act. The bottom line is that it now is in full effect, and the Obama administration, in spite of public pronouncements to the contrary, has been the driving force behind it. As Lenin said, words are one thing, actions another. And that's what he follows. He's a Marxist-Leninist. And he does what his masters tell him to do, his puppet masters, who are the 1%. Reality check, September 27th. Video, Ben Swan again of Reality Check from Cincinnati on Channel 19. Fox analyzes the stories surrounding the many attacks against the U.S. in the Middle East and concludes that we are being misled again. The mainstream media says they are in response to a YouTube video defaming Muhammad, but the leaders of the attack say they are in retaliation against U.S. military presence in the Middle East. We've been there for 12 years and more, killing their people, their women and children and young folks. And they expect us to continue without them to retaliate? Beating on a wasp nest doesn't keep the wasp from attacking. Reality check, September 26th. And that's 26th. That is exactly what they're doing. Video, U.S. Here is an overview of the current bill in Congress to audit the Federal Reserve. In addition to providing a pertinent facts, it is a great introduction to the Fed to share with the people who are new to this topic. Success Council, September 25th. Watch it, learn, and understand. They are part of the 1%. Elitist, psychopaths. Article to keep and of interest. Here is an excellent explanation of how the price of gold is manipulated and what happens when the process ends as it must. Old-timers to unfiltered news may be familiar with this, but it is well worth reviewing from time to time. It will affect your future. International Man, September 24th. Read it, learn from it, understand. As a presidential candidate in 2008, Obama said he would protect the interest of those who are concerned about GMO foods. Once in office, his actions revealed that he really was a friend of the biotech industry, and he became a #1 lobbyist for Monsanto. John Rappaport, September 24th. And guess Romney also supports Monsanto and helped him out when he was in Bain. Oh yes, he was a great defender too. We have Tweedledee and Tweedledum, two evils of evil. They're really no lesser of the other. Ron Paul was the only one that was totally diametrically opposite of that. And everything that they're talking and trying to keep. Man, people were brainwashed and hoodwinked by mainstream media. Video. Here was an extensive confirmation of eyewitness statements and media reports following 9/11 explosions. Most of these accounts have never been used in video documentaries and have disappeared from the mainstream media. The single driving fact that emerges is that there were numerous explosions in the buildings on that day, and they were exactly what one would expect in a controlled demolition. And it was. Every serious researcher in the 9/11 should have this in his collection. 2 hours long, YouTube, September 22nd. Collect this before they take it down. Another article of interest. Timeline of Agenda 21 is an excellent and short overview of how the global warming myth has been used to justify the slogan of sustainable development. In truth, it is a political ploy to eliminate private ownership of land, crowd people into cities, force them to rely on public transportation, and increase taxation. Freedom Advocates posted September 22nd. That's right. They want you near the company store. They want you to live in an apartment next door to the factory. They tried there was an example of this in Ohio, in Newark, Ohio. It's known as Londenberg, and they make baskets. And the man who ran that had Reagan even come over and look at this. I have a housing development right here where the factory is. So nobody has to go very far to go to work and weave baskets for me. Yeah, check it out. Londenberg. And they're the ones, you've seen the picture, their corporate building in Newark. It's a big giant basket. It's big. It's one of the famous landmarks of the world. Well, that's it for the headline news for this week. And here is some bonuses for you to check out. And it's known as It's Amazing. Flyboarding. What won't they think of next? Click and be amazed at these guys who have these hoses that spray water down, and it allows them to fly as long as their hose is long enough. And here's another one. A fish ball of another kind. Yes, these fish will do this to keep from being eaten. They will turn into a big object where the big fish will get scared of it and run away. As you can see, this fish here is like looking at going, I don't think I want to mess with that. And then you got the humor for this week, and you got this cute little picture to show for the day. Today's the day. I can feel it. Today, I'm going to catch the red dot. Okay, that's it. And then you have the forum stories underneath. I'll have a link to this newsletter for this week, and I will also put this up on my other site and my Power Video Tube, which is a lot better. I get 3 times the hits in a day than I do on YouTube for some reason. I don't know if it's YouTube's counting system is so slow or what, but get better hits. Alright, until next time, this is Spellbinder saying be good or be good at it. Enjoy Saturday. This is already 1:45 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time here in Ohio Valley. And until next time, like I said, be good at it, and good day.